Alright guys, we have an absolutely massive update for CS2. This is by far the biggest update since the game was released, so let's go over all the interesting stuff. To start, we have a brand new knife. This one's been expected for a while, and I also spoke about it in a previous video. It's called the Kukri Knife. I think it looks pretty sick, and it has some cool animations. We also have a brand new case called the Kilowatt case, as well as a brand new sticker capsule called the Ambush capsule. I'll get back to the case, the capsule, and the new knife later in the video, but for now, let's have a look at some of the updated content. Valve has reintroduced war games into CS2, and even though I don't play a lot of war games, it's good to see it back, especially because this probably indicates that they're planning on reintroducing the rest of the game modes from CSGO and hopefully some new ones to boot. The war game map Shoots is one of the two maps reintroduced to CS2, and although it looks similar to before, it's actually gotten a pretty solid overhaul. They've also changed the firing sound of the M249 pretty dramatically. Not that anyone is actually going to buy it. Here's a clip of what it sounded like before. And then here's a clip of what it sounds like now. Quite a dramatic difference. I like the new sound a lot better, but I wish that instead of changing the sound of a weapon that no one's going to buy, that they instead would change the viability of the weapon, like change the price or change some of the features of the weapon. Another familiar map that came back with the update is Baggage, and this one has also gotten a fairly substantial overhaul. We also have a completely revamped sticker system, so now not only can you place them in the normal 4 positions, you can actually place up to 5 stickers on any gun, and you can place them exactly where you want them to be. So like you can place one here, one here, one here, and one here. Like you can place them anywhere you want. Just be aware that if you place them near an edge like this, it will not wrap around the gun. They've also added a zoom option for when you're placing stickers so you can see exactly where you're placing them. Just click here, zooms in a little bit. It's not ideal that you can't move around the zoom or zoom in and out more than this, but this way you can see a little bit better exactly where you're placing the sticker. They've also added Zeus skins. This one here is the first one to come out. This one is called Olympus. On the design here, you can obviously see Zeus, the man himself. And on the back here is a new update. You can actually reuse a Zeus. So every 30 seconds, it's fully charged and you can reuse it again. You'll also be able to add name tags and stickers to the Zeus. And now you can inspect any weapon in first person. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this video, can you please go ahead and Zeus that like button and subscribe to the channel? Like, now? Now would be a good time to do both of those things. Thank you so much. Valve also said that they've improved the rendering and the animation of smokes, so let's have a look. It does bloom a little different. I think it's definitely moving way more. That looks kind of crazy. And then they've added shadows to smokes as well. Another new thing that they've added is the option to just refund everything that you've bought in the round. I had kind of a homemade bind for this before, but for some reason that didn't work with the Kevlar, I think. Now you can see it down here. You can see that I have it bound to backspace. So if I press backspace, it'll just refund everything that I bought in that round. The way you bind it is you open up your console, you type bind, and then I have backspace here. You put whatever key you want, and then sell back all. You can now also disable first-person tracers, so the little lines that come out of the front of the gun when you shoot, just like this. The way to do it is you go to the console, you type R_draw tracers_first person, and then you can either put true or false. And now you're going to see that they're gone. Something that they fixed is that, let's say you find an M4 like this with the silencer off and you want it on. You can still put it back on, even though you have this setting right here disabled. This is something you couldn't do before, and it could be pretty frustrating to some players. Valve also said that they've improved smoothness when sliding along surfaces, so basically surfing. So let's see if that's true. Feels similar to before, maybe a little bit better. Let's see here. I don't know, that still feels a little bit buggy to me, but hopefully that's something they fix soon. Another thing they say they fixed is collisions between players being jittery. So basically, especially when you were coming out of spawn, if you're running on top of your teammates, you would be kind of lagging all over the place. So let's see if that's true. This is something that's already gotten a lot better since the start of the game. It does feel better, but I won't say that it's completely perfect just yet. But it definitely does feel better than it did before. Another issue that was pretty prevalent before that they've supposedly fixed is that sometimes in the beginning of the game, so the first couple of rounds, you would just have a default loadout. So no matter the changes that you made here, you would have a default loadout. Let's say you had the USP as your starting pistol, you would only have a P2000. And what's worse is you wouldn't even have any skins. The way that they fixed it is basically by stopping you from changing your loadout at all while you're searching for a match, which doesn't really seem like the ideal fix, because that is something that some people might want to do, is change the loadout while they're searching for a game. So hopefully in the future they find a better fix for that. A new option that they've added to the menu is this one right here. It's called Listen to Microphone. So if for some reason you want to hear what you sound like in-game to others, you can toggle this on. And then now, everything that I say, I can hear it in my headphones. Another fix that they've done that I really appreciate is that they've went back to making it real clear that if you're chatting with your team, it now says CT in front of it because I'm on the CT side. If I'm on the T side, of course, do the same thing. It's going to say T. So now it's again very clear that you're only chatting with your team. Of course, if you say something to all, it'll show all. If you're super interested in seeing everything about the new knife, the new case, and capsule, I'll have a separate in-depth video out on that in a few hours, so this one doesn't get too long. As soon as that video is out, I'll make sure to link it in the end screen for this one, so make sure you check that out. They also released a new night mode music kit box. It has 6 different music kits in it. You'll obviously only get one of these if you open it, so let's just give them a very quick listen. Doesn't really feel like there's anything too iconic in here, not the next Easy Friends. Let's have a quick look at the rest of the patch notes here, as there are still some pretty significant changes and fixes that we haven't already been over. Under weapon finishes, they list various bug fixes and tweaks, so this is basically just a minor change to the look of certain skins, and the same thing goes for stickers. As far as gameplay changes that we haven't been over yet, they list player pings are no longer blocked by invisible geometry, not something I can say that I've really had a big issue with in the past, but it's nice to see nonetheless. Various adjustments to sub-tick shooting. I haven't had a chance to play an actual game yet after the update, but I have heard that shooting and especially spraying does feel a lot better after the update. They fixed several cases where players could silently drop down vertical surfaces, so previously there were a lot of cases on different maps where you could silently drop by sliding down a completely vertical wall. This was obviously not intentional, so I assume they've patched all of these. When it comes to sound, they've made multiple changes to that as well. You can now select a specific input device for VoIP from the settings menu. They've added adjustable minimum and maximum loudness for microphones. They've added new sound effects for the Zeus to let you know if it's charged. So there's a new kind of charging sound right after you fire it. You can see on the back there that it's charging up. And here's what it sounds like if you try to fire it again before it's ready. And then once it's ready to fire again, you'll hear this sound no matter if you have it holstered or in your hands. And here it looks like some minor adjustments to the overall sound, and they've supposedly fixed an issue where sounds that were supposed to sound like they were right on you would instead sound like they were right behind you.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Next up, with regards to networking, they list some stuff about Peeker's advantage and how they've supposedly taken steps to reduce that advantage. They also list that they've taken steps to decrease stuttering due to packet loss, so if you were ever struggling with that, this should be music to your ears. A new visual feature that they've added is that in the kill feed, players who have played a lot recently and reached reduced XP gain will have a little symbol next to them, and here's what that looks like. They also say that agents who have unique end-of-match cheer animations, so like the doctor jumping with his hands up if you win, that they've gotten a new defeat animation for when you lose, and they've also added more end-of-match accolades, so this would be the stuff like the MVP, the fire starter, the clickbait, and so on. Under miscellaneous, they note that players with a higher range of CS ratings will now be allowed to queue together in Premiere. However, they don't say how much of a difference in rating is actually allowed. They also fixed the case where high DPI mice would result in jittery mouse movement. I'm a low sense player, so I've not noticed anything like that, but I also haven't heard anybody complaining about it. They also have minor improvements to the demo viewer, which is super welcome because even though it's a lot better than CSGO, it's certainly not perfect yet. And then finally, there are a bunch of clipping and visibility issues that they fixed on nearly every map, which is of course always nice to see. If you've enjoyed this video, why not watch another one of my videos? And if you don't know which one to choose, here's a couple to choose from. That's it. I'm leaving. Peace.